I'm not dating you, but I know someone who remembers those 2000 finals. We are joined by CBS Sports NBA analyst Tim Doyle. As Indy, they're partying like it's 1999/2000 season, except that year, well, they fell to the Lakers in 6 games. But hey, this city's been waiting a long time to get back to this point. Timmy, what do you expect the atmosphere to be like at Gainbridge Fieldhouse for Game 3?
Probably better than it was in 1999 for me. I think that was when I had my first kiss that year. Yeah, I think there was like a lot of hand-holding, interlocking fingers at that point, okay? It's going to be an awesome atmosphere. I mean, the fans, this is what the state is all about. Basketball. It's one of the few states that is a basketball-first state. I'm talking about the overall state. You look at whether it's Indiana in college basketball or Purdue, there's so much rich basketball history at the high school level. They know their basketball and they turn out in a big way. And they've done a tremendous job, the Pacers, within the organization of building a team smartly, because you have to. And then check out their home splits. You know, the biggest thing with the Pacers is, can they get this game up into the 110s? Can they get 115? Can they get 121? Because when they're able to push pace and get up and down and are fun to watch, well, then they've been a completely different team in the playoffs. They've had outstanding splits on the home and on the road. And thank goodness, Kiana, that Tyrese Halliburton made, you know, what is known as the lost art of a mid-range jump shot in Game 1. And now we have a series. So I think it's going to be an electric environment. And OKC this year has had some bumps in the road, on the road. So I think this is going to be a tremendous 2-game set in Indianapolis.
Hey, you talked about it a little bit, those 110 points you were talking about. Well, Indiana undefeated when they score at least 110 points this postseason, 13-0. Meanwhile, you scoring 109 or less, well, you're winless. They're 0-5. Now, obviously, they got to that number in Game 1, barely, thanks to Tyrese Halliburton. But how difficult will it be to surpass that again against this OKC defense?
At home, it's going to be a completely different story. You know, we've seen this Pacer team at home when they've had success in the playoffs. They're not only scoring 110, they're scoring 120. And this is just true in all sports, right? Role players play better at home as they feel more comfortable. Heck, all players play better at home because you're used to the gym, you're used to the environment. If you're the Pacers, you have to feel great. No one expected you to win any games in OKC. So now you get a chance to come home, and I think it's going to be a total team effort. That's what makes this Pacer team so unique. It's not just Halliburton. It's Pascal Siakam. It's Miles Turner. It's the bench. It's McConnell. It's Nesmith. It's Obi Toppin. They've had so many different guys throughout this playoffs step up. So there should be a ton of optimism. Now, if they were heading back to Indiana, you know, getting whacked by 20 in Game 1, then getting kind of get throttled in Game 2 like they were, yeah, I'd have a different opinion. But I have been inside those locker rooms, and when you get a win like that, even though it may be kind of false belief, you believe you could beat this team 4 times in a 7-game series. So Rick Carlisle is not going to change his approach. He knows the numbers just like we do, Kiana. He's going to want to play fast, he's going to want to play furious, and he's going to want a ton of possessions for this Pacers squad.
Yeah, you said it's not just about Tyrese Halliburton. It's several other guys stepping up because to be honest, we've seen a little bit of a lackluster outing from Halliburton through the first 2 games, but I'm going to talk about him anyway because he did avenge himself in Game 1 with that winning shot, but he followed up with just 14 points in Game 2, being held to just 5 through 3 quarters on Sunday. Maybe a slower than usual first halves of this series, but does that play it all into a player prop for Tyrese Halliburton for you in Game 3?
Well, the biggest story for the Pacers in Game 1 was they were throwing the ball all over the place. I mean, they were turning it over left and right, and it's kind of been a similar story with Tyrese Halliburton. He has averaged 4 turnovers throughout the first 2 games of this series. So I'm going to flip it. I'm going to put it on your head right here, and I'm going to say assist over. Now, he averages over 9 assists in the regular season, and he hovers around that number as well in the postseason. But check out his assist numbers at home. Now, 15, I don't think he's getting 15 assists, but I expect the Pacers to go over that 110 number. I expect the Pacers to make shots. I expect the crowd to be electric. So last game was 7.5. Before last game, he had 8 straight games with 6+ assists. So he's been hovering around that 6-7 mark. 8.5 is a really fair number, but I think the Pacers are going to score and score in bunches. Give me over Halliburton assist.
Pacers scoring in bunches, but now I want to talk about OKC because their star guard, well, he's combined for 72 points in the first 2 games of this series, including his 34-point outing in Game 2. SGA, his point total market may be creeping up a bit, but does he continue to ride that wave, and are you riding that wave with him? What's your SGA prop for Game 3?
You called out my age earlier in the segment. I'm going to call out your age, okay? You remember the infomercial, set it and forget it. It was a rotisserie chicken that you just let go round and round and round. This is what SGA, okay? Bet it and then just forget it. Just bet over. Just keep betting over and over and over and over. You're right. It was 33.5. Now it went to 34.5. Now it's back down to 33.5. Look at these numbers. Look at these numbers this way. All right, look at those numbers, okay? Check out those digits. It's just like when you know you own someone, you own someone. And it's in any sport, especially in basketball. Like when you put up numbers like this, okay? You walk on the floor and you're like, okay, nobody can guard me. And I expect this game to be high tempo. I expect this game where the Pacers are scoring. So what does that mean? If OKC is going to win, they're going to have to keep up. I think it's going to be very similar to a Game 4 Minnesota OKC, which I thought was one of the best games of the playoffs, where both teams were making shots and making threes. OKC is going to have to be at their best. SGA is going to have to be at their best. Or I believe they could walk out of Indianapolis down 3-1 in this series.
Interesting. Okay, well, Vegas doesn't see Indy's home court advantage being too much of an advantage in Game 3. The visitors favored by 5.5 total currently. 228.5. Timmy, give me your play heading into Wednesday night.
Yeah, I mean, now these Game 3s are interesting, right? Because 2 out of the 3 of them were, well, let me see here. The Milwaukee series, they were on the road, they lose that game. The Cleveland series, they were at home, they lose that. And then Game 3, they end up losing to the Knicks. All right, so 2 out of 3 of those games were at home, and they're 0-3. But I think there's something wrong with OKC on the road. This is the splits I want to pull up. Thank you so much, producer Lucas. They're extraordinary at home. There's no other way to say it. Their defense is great and their offense is great. On the road, just okay. You see how high my voice went there? They're just okay. Like, they're not blowing you away. By the way, one of those wins was in Memphis, and they were down 29 points in game number 3. So I have 2 bets here. Stay with me, okay, Kiana? I gave this out in the Minnesota-Oklahoma City series. Same thing. It was Game 3. They were going back to Minnesota, and now it's Game 3. They're going to Indiana. You give me the Pacers here on the money line. That's right. Forget the spread, Kiana. You pick out a dollar amount. I know what you're making, close to $1 million a year at CBS HQ. Maybe you don't want to put aside that much, okay? But you pick out a dollar amount you want to bet, and you bet it on the Pacers money line. And if they lose game number 3, you come right back in game number 4 and you bet Pacers money line again. They're not losing both games at home. So if they win game 3, talk to me before game 4. Maybe we got to make up a new plan here. But pick out a denomination. What's 50, 100, 10,000. I know you're a big bettor, Kiana. And then you double up the next game. You're getting nearly plus 200 on both of these games. So now you're going to be winning 1 bet. You're actually going to be winning 2 bets. I think the Pacers are going to play confident. I think they're going to be fun to watch. I think they're going to go over that 110 mark. OKC is going to need Jalen Williams, a Chet Holmgren. They're going to need a total team effort. The Pacers are definitely winning a game at home. The hammer is out here in game 3. If they lose game 3, coming right back in game 4.
That's what we're learning. Okay, we're bringing out the hammer because if Pacers don't get it at home game 3, they're going to get it in game 4. Also, keep betting that over on SGA because if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And the third thing I learned, pay attention to the voice inflections because it tells you a lot when it comes to sports betting. And Tim Doyle, as always, Timmy, we appreciate you stopping by with the insight. Thanks so much. And here's a look at the upcoming NBA Finals schedule. Game 3 set for Wednesday night, 8:30 p.m. Eastern from Indianapolis. Game 4 Friday night. Then the series shifting back to OKC for Game 5. That'll be on Monday. All the action, you can catch it over on ABC.